Whoever has to edit this is going to have a rough go of it.
Pythagos QuickPlay.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Pythagos QuickPlay. If this is your first time joining us, we're the only review show that doesn't pretend to have played the full game first. I'm your host Pythagos. Before we get started, I have a goal of getting 100 subscribers. When I reach that goal, I'll go play a very difficult game on Twitch for 2 hours and you can watch me swear and get frustrated and eventually get through some hard challenges. If you want to see that, go ahead and click subscribe if you're not already. Share this on Twitter, share this on Facebook. If you know anybody who might be interested in this content, share it with them. When I hit 100 subscribers, I will send out an announcement and then we'll do this. Today's game is called Boogie Bot. It is an alpha game by From the End Games. I don't know much about it. I've only looked at the art for it so far. The way this works is I'm going to show you some highlights and then we're going to do a review. The way the review works is we review 6 categories: art, sound, gameplay, controls, brokenness, and replay. And then we average those for a final score. So let's go ahead and get into it. Forward, back, 0 or backspace. I don't know what's happening. Okay, I'm zooming in basically. Okay. Oh, something bad happened. Okay, this is the opening cutscene. Okay, so there's some bad aliens or robots or something. Okay, I've just realized that this is actually part of the game, so I'm gonna go ahead and start the timers. Okay, so there's our timer. We got 24 minutes. When I'm going to count down from 3, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit start on Twitch timer, which you see up there, and on my phone timer, which I see over here. 3, 2, 1, and we are off. Okay. Alright, I see. My battery drains over time. Looks like D, your battery is draining. There's no time to waste. Okay, so I'm running through this wasteland. Does this charge me? E? Oh, it's a checkpoint. Okay. E slows time down. I don't know what these things are. It looks like they give us points. This is the tutorial section. Oh, they give me battery too. Not a lot though. Okay, so the gravity is pretty low, or it feels pretty low. Okay, and so each level's gonna have these 3 secret coins that you have to find. Oh, those big coins will give you a lot of battery. Oh, there's hidden ones too. Okay. It's not super intuitive. So I was thinking to be like Mario Brothers, but then you can just run once you're under there, and I can't tell if that's intended or not. Well, so this game is in early alpha, right? Oh, you can double jump. So there's supposed to be lives somewhere, right? Whoa. Okay, so that was a life. Okay. Should be just about close to the end. Okay, that was our first taste of enemies. Oh, okay. Neat. Oh, those are like the enemies at the end of, or the creatures at the end of a Sonic level. Now I have a boogie meter. Oh, this charges my boogie meter. Oh, okay. It didn't show you your boogie meter in the first level. Wow, this level seems too easy. You start with 99 lives. Change name. Pythagos. Alright, begin. Wow! I should start my timer now. Alright, ready? 24 minutes starting? No, I'm just kidding. Oh, level 1. Okay. There's more to this game than I expected there to be, actually. Okay, so this is a bug that I do not like. Wow, yeah, again, there's a lot more of this game than I thought there would be. Okay, well, I'm glad I figured out the slide thing. So it's a platformer, which I generally prefer controllers for. Bonus level 2, because I got the 3 coins. Whoa, that's interesting. Whoa. Something's moving. Oh, this platform is moving. Oh, I'm dead. I'm not dead. I'm dead. I'm not dead. Neat. Huh. Huh, well that was kind of fun, actually. They're actually not doing too bad at the tutorial stuff. They'll make you get into a situation before that situation will actually affect you. And what was really cool was at the beginning of this level, they showed you how the moving platform worked before you had to actually step on one yourself. Bonus level 3. Oh. You're not supposed to empty that immediately. Oh, time's up. Okay. Huh. Well then. Alright. That was Boogie Bot. So, I'm going to give some initial thoughts because this is an alpha game. This is going to be a little bit different from how I review the other games. The scale is going to remain the same. I'm going to review each category as though this were a finished game. What I am going to do, however, is I'm going to add this is my feedback for the final version of the game. Here's what I think you should do for the final version of the game. This is completely subjective, but that's what a review show is, so take my feedback with a grain of salt, and if watching this gameplay was interesting to you, still go check this game out. Go follow this game studio on Twitter. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what the game was. So it was a platformer. It was simple enough. I don't know how they plan to differentiate this from other games. It was somewhat similar to Mario, but it was a little less intuitive. The controls were very frustrating, and something that was really neat was each level had its own unique mechanic that it added. Now, in the early stages of this game, they were as simple as, oh, if you step on this platform, it falls. I imagine in later levels, those will get more interesting, but right now it just seems like I don't know how they would differentiate themselves from all the other platformers on the market. If you want a large market share in this current market, you need something that differentiates you from other games. So the 6 categories we review on are art, sound, gameplay, controls, brokenness, and replay. For art, what we're looking for is how high quality is the art, how well does the art aesthetic fit with the theme of the game. The art is hand-drawn and cute. I really like the design of the little robot guy. It doesn't look like final art, but there are some nice touches in there. So the art is hand-drawn. The art is really cute in this game. It's hand-drawn. It looks like placeholder art. Well, that's not fair. I mean, some of it certainly does. Like, it doesn't look final, I will say that. But they've done a lot with it already, so the background parallaxes, like, you can see that the background and the farther background don't move at the same rate, so the background's already a parallax scroll. So the background parallax scrolls, which is something you usually don't put into a game that has placeholder art. It actually made me feel a little more into the game because I was like, oh, I actually feel like I'm in space. Maybe that's why they chose to put that in so early. There were different types of things you could stand on. It showed you in the beginning of one level how one block was this triangle block that you have to stand on, and if you stand on it, it falls. Those were pretty obvious. There's not a lot of different art there. The enemies were kind of cute. It was hard to tell. For most of them, you just jump on their head. For one of them, they might be upside down and you have to jump up and punch them. Another Mario thing. The enemies were cute, but not great art. They were not that differentiated. As far as I remember, they were all boxes. Oh, I don't understand that enemy. The font that you're using, man, the font is gotta go. That font is unreadable. This font is kind of hard to read. Okay, so I really hate this font. I get why they included it. Yeah, the font is so hard to read. So it looks like it says 0, but it says 8. That is confusing. I saw my lives at the bottom, and I thought I had 0 lives. I had 8 lives. That font has gotta go. I get you're doing it because it looks like a robot font, but go look at Fallout, go look at any other released game that uses robotic fonts, and pick something like that. This font has gotta go. So I will give art a 2. So, because this is an alpha game, I said I'm going to talk about how I would recommend improving it before the final game that would drive me to go back and play it again. For the art, just keep iterating on it. Add some shading. You don't have that far to go, it's just you want that polish. You want more complex animations, fewer blocky enemies, so just keep iterating on the art and you'll get there. Sound. How good are the sound and music? How well do they fit with the theme of the game? And how much tweaking did I have to do to the sound settings? Okay, so first thing, right off the bat, this is way too loud. Way too loud. I've got to go turn it down at the game level. One of the things we rate sound on is how much tweaking do I have to do to the sound settings after I'm in the game. God, I've turned it down so much and it's still so loud. The sound was way too loud. Within the game itself, I will usually turn down the volume slider. There's no volume slider. So I had to turn the game volume for this game down to 3. Literally 3. It almost can't go any more quiet. So the sound's just way too loud. The sound effects need to be more satisfying. I will say the music was pretty good. It was the saving grace here in sound, I would say. So I will give sound a 2. How would I improve this? Well, first off, before anything else, add a sound slider. Please, just add a sound slider. Make the default sound level a lot lower, maybe 50%, and then you could turn it up to this loud. Maybe people want it this loud. I am not among them. If somebody wants it this loud, fine. Give them that option. Don't make that the default. Jesus, man. I don't have any feedback for you to improve the music. Whoever's writing your music, just keep at it. Go watch some of my other videos for some examples of games that have really good soundtracks. Katana Zero and Waves are 2 of the main ones that I played that I gave really good sound scores to. The sound effects in this game are not satisfying, and I would recommend you play around with the sound effects that happen when you kill an enemy, when you pick up one of the discs, until you feel really just happy to have done that thing. For dying, the sound effect needs to be clear. You can iterate on that until it just feels bad to die and you're like, oh, I don't want that. Gameplay and understandability. For this, we're looking for how good is the gameplay, how intuitive is the gameplay, and how well does the game follow the rules it sets for itself. So the gameplay objective is really clear. You're running Mario-style levels, you're collecting these discs along the way. There are 3 golden discs you have to collect in order to get to a bonus level. And the objective is, at the end of the level, you win by breaking your friends out of this holding tank that they're being held in. The core gameplay loop is just individual Mario-style levels. There were a lot of enemies, but they weren't very interesting. And I would say the explosion when they die is satisfying, but I would like that to come a lot faster rather than having to wait a second. You could be almost off the screen to the right before an enemy you stepped on a second ago died. And the game feels like a Mario game without a lot of the Mario polish. The characters are cute and they seem fun, and I'm interested to explore more of their story. The boogie meter is not intuitive. It looks like you build it up by moving to the right of the screen. What is my boogie meter? I don't understand the boogie meter, to be honest with you. Because it feels like killing enemies should cause the boogie meter to go up. I still don't fully know how you get boogie meter charge. Okay, so moving to the right increases your boogie meter, and moving to the left does not. I think it's based on your speed. But you're going just the same speed when you're moving to the left. It'll show you 24 miles per hour, or whatever the measure is. And then if you're going to the left, it will show you negative that value. So the boogie meter looks like the only thing that builds it up is moving to the right of the screen. It doesn't look like killing enemies does it. It doesn't look like collecting the discs to give you battery does it. So that's not intuitive. Given all of this, I will give gameplay a 2. And here's how I would improve it. You need more varied enemies up front. But the key difference in Mario is the way that those enemies are placed is such that it forces you to learn. And you had some really good tutorial sections where I was forced to learn how to deal with certain things. You should treat every enemy segment as something that either teaches the player something or tests the player's knowledge. Those sections where there were just a bunch of enemies bouncing is not teaching me anything, nor is it testing my knowledge. If the goal is more to get to the end of the level than to have to deal with the enemies along the way, then you can place the obstacles in such a way that those obstacles are teaching or testing the player. And again, I think you'll get there. If you can differentiate this game from other games that are similar, and you can have that sort of really tight level design, this game will be a really fun platformer. Controls. What we're looking for here is how intuitive are the controls, how well do the controls follow the rules the game sets. So you're releasing this on PC and Mac, and I'm still looking for data on this, but anecdotally, everybody I know who plays on PC generally plays with a keyboard and mouse because it's readily available. I do have one friend that plays with the controller for shooters because he's used to the aim speed. If you're putting out a PC game, you need to offer keyboard controls. So you had them. There were keyboard controls here, but the keyboard controls were not intuitive. For instance, I wasn't sure whether I needed my hands on the keyboard completely or whether I needed one hand on the mouse. It was accidentally clicking once that made me realize I needed on the mouse. It's very clear when you go into the controls menu that this was built for a controller. Oh, here we go. Controls. Wow. So this is made for you to use a controller, and I don't have a controller hooked up to my PC. Whoa. Okay. So mouse click is a button. Mouse click slides. The other thing is, if you're expecting players to play with a controller, what I do have stats on is that most players who plug in a controller to play a game, and these are Valve stats from Steam, will plug in an Xbox controller. Your definition of what button to hit in the bottom right was a PS controller, not an Xbox controller. Okay, down there you see press square to wave dive. I'm not using a PS controller. I'm using my keyboard. If you had a detection of what controller is being used down there, then it will be a lot more intuitive for your players. For these reasons, it was a lot harder for me to figure out what I was supposed to do in some cases. And the whole dash thing, like trying to dash under things, I didn't figure that out until about halfway through the second level or first level or something, because it said, use this to do a dash. I'm like, okay, what button is that? Oh, it's left click. That was not intuitive. So with that in mind, I'll give controls a 1. How would I improve this is I would assume that your users are going to use a keyboard, and if you want to offer controller support, you can offer that in addition to keyboard support, but make sure you treat your keyboard and mouse users as first-class citizens and give them some descriptions of which keys do what. Brokenness. So this is how many bugs did I experience and how difficult were they to deal with? How painful did they make my experience? The main 2 bugs I experienced were you had these 2 platforms and you would duck under the platform and start walking, and so you're just walking along. That, by the way, the fact that you can walk under there is a minor bug, and that's the other bug I was going to talk about. But the major bug is when you do that and there are 2 blocks that meet under there, you'll just fall. You'll fall through them, and you can use your double jump to get back up. Fortunately, all of the platforms that are at the bottom like that, you can fly back up through. But the fact of the matter is, I shouldn't have fallen down in the first place. And I don't even know if I should be able to duck under it and walk under it. And so those are, I would consider both of those bugs. I would definitely consider the fact that I can fall down through there a bug, given that when you slide, you go right through there. Those were the only bugs I experienced, though. So I could get through most of the game without trouble. So I'll give brokenness a 3. How I would improve this is I would fix the bugs and determine what you want to do with the fact that you can duck under it and walk under it. Because if you can do that, maybe your character should be doing like a little crawling animation instead of a standing and walking and jiggling animation. Replay. How much do I want to keep playing this? Similar to the other ones, it'll be rated from 1 to 5. 1 means I will never play this again. 2 means I don't want to ever play this again in its current state. 3 means I don't care if I ever play this again. 4 means I want to play this again. And 5 means I'm going to keep playing this right now. I do want to see what each new level brings. As my timer ran out, I was just getting into level 4, and I landed on what looked like a paper airplane, and the paper airplane flew me across the screen. So that was super interesting, and that's just one example of the new mechanics that each level offers and how it shows you at the beginning of the level what to expect. And I enjoy solving puzzles using those mechanics. The tutorial at the beginning of the game was very helpful, helping me figure out what to do, when and where, and giving me the tools I need to get through the levels. Now, I mentioned a bunch of things earlier about how what was in the bottom of the screen was not useful because it's too small to read. it was that atrocious font, and the controls were the wrong controller. They thought I was using a controller. But when you teach me how to play the game by your level design, which you did in the beginning of the tutorial stages, I'm going to retain that because I'm like, oh, that's what happens when I do this. If you just tell me at the bottom of the screen in this tiny atrocious font, I'm not going to remember it as well. All that being said, I don't really want to keep playing the game in its current state. I would absolutely be open to coming back and trying this again in a beta or when the game launches, but I can't see myself coming back to the alpha as it stands right now, so I will give replay a 2. So how to improve this is really just improve all the other categories. Improving in the areas I outlined will improve this one naturally. All right, so we'll go down through the scores again, and then we'll give the final score. So we gave art a 2, sound a 2, gameplay and understandability a 2, controls a 1, brokenness a 3, and replay a 2. If we take our 1 and our 3 and our whole bunch of 2s and average all those out, that gives us a final score of 2.0. Alright, so this is Boogie Bot by From the End Games. You can find them at From the End Games on Twitter. I'm Pythagos. You can find me on Twitter at Pythagos1 and on Twitch as twitch.tv/Pythagos. I'm trying to do my best to be fair to these developers. They've put out their alpha for their game. I think it's their first game, so go check them out. Give them a follow on Twitter. Check out their game. They've got it available on itch.io. I will post a link to that in my description down below. Pay them for this game. You can pay what you want, and the money that you send them there will help them continue building the game. So if you enjoyed this video, click like. If you absolutely hated it and you want my life to be destroyed, click dislike. I mean, you can still click dislike even if you just disliked it a little. I'm just telling you that if you feel like my life should be destroyed, the farthest you should go is clicking dislike. It won't actually destroy my life, but it'll make you feel better. If you want to see more like this, click subscribe. And as a reminder, I am trying to get up to 100 subscribers, and when I do, I will stream a very difficult game that I am not good at yet, and you can watch me swear and flail about for 2 hours. So go subscribe for that, share this on Twitter, share this with your friends, and I will see you next time. So until next time, I am Pythagos, and Pythagos out! How about that Game of Thrones episode? Episode 3 of the last season, which I will have watched before this goes up, but I haven't yet. That was crazy, right? Game of Thrones. That's a show. It's a television program where there are dragons and there's a throne.